If you have never heard of the country of Namibia, you are not alone. What does this country have to do with meat in America? Apparently, so many people got the China virus that it is being spread at all of the packing plants. Therefore, we must close these plants and import our meat from countries with even lower health standards. If only people did something to their meat before eating it to kill off all of the dangerous viruses. Some sort of extreme heat. Debate the morals and ethics of the Defense Production Act all you want, but President Trump used it to keep these plants open. How long do you think grocery stores would remain open if they did not get supplies in? The entire economy is connected. It is even getting to the point where stores are rationing meat and ranchers are being forced to euthanize cattle. Attorney General Bill Barr sent letters to each state attorney general to remind them that any draconian measures in response to the China virus would be fought. He is asking federal prosecutors to report restrictive edicts to be dealt with criminally. You are more likely to get the virus from going into Walmart than at the barbershop or church. Yet which ones are being shut down? Case in point, the hairdresser in Dallas, who was punished for following a guideline that had no enforcement mechanism. The judge wanted her to apologize for opening her salon to feed her family.
Judge, I would like to say that I have much respect for this court and laws, and that I've never been in this position before, and it's not some place that I want to be. But I have to disagree with you, sir, when you say that I'm selfish, because feeding my kids is not selfish. I have hairstylists that are going hungry because they'd rather feed their kids. So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids getting fed, then please go ahead with your decision, but I am not going to shut the salon.
Sheriffs around the country are defying orders from their governors to enforce these draconian rules. I have mentioned before that this was a test to see how much freedom could be taken away. That is still true. Democrats also have to damage the economy so that Trump cannot be reelected. Also, if everyone stays home, they can push for mail-in ballots that can be easily tampered with. Pelosi is opposed to having a payroll tax cut in the next bill to deal with the China virus. Why? Because she is a Democrat and needs the extra robbery out of our income to fund a myriad of projects, whether that be welfare for illegals or the Kennedy Arts Center. She cannot risk people keeping their money because then they might vote for the person that lets them keep their money. Here are the top 10 states with the most cases. Notice you have to get to the very bottom before you get to the red states, and even so, the first one is a popular tourist trap, and the other is big and highly populous. Here are the top 10 states in regards to deaths. Again, you have to get to the bottom of the list before you get to the red states, where the most deaths occurred in a port state, and the other a popular tourist destination with a myriad of retired people that were already at risk. Also, as you can tell, New York is exponentially higher in the number of cases and the number of deaths. It is almost as if the blue states were terribly mismanaged. Now Cruz, McConnell, and Trump have all agreed that the next bill will not bail out mismanaged states. Those that are going to open up for business will do better than those that are poorly run. Companies are going to flock to open states, just like many companies are fleeing China. This is what economists call creative destruction. Since the red states will have a better economy, the blue states have to make the situation worse to get the money. Now that they will not be getting the money, the fake news decided that they would run back-to-back reporting on Kavanaugh's accuser. Even though she could not remember a single detail, no one could corroborate her story, and she did not even file a police report. They have been silent on Biden's accuser, Even though she remembers every detail, her story has been corroborated and she filed a police report.
I am so proud. The happiest day for me this week was to support Joe Biden for President of the United States. He's a person of great integrity, a great concern for the American people. He authored the Violence Against Women Act when he was the chair of the Judiciary Committee in the 90s. He has been an advocate for funding it all along since then. And I believe that he will be a great president of the United States. He is the personification of hope and optimism and authenticity.
Chris Hayes from MSNBC dared to report about the actions of the presumptive nominee for president. Naturally, liberals want the network to fire him for giving a voice to Tara Reade. Journalism is supposed to be unbiased, but that is rarely ever the case. Even the University of Delaware is refusing to release information that could exonerate Biden. We are consistently told that if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. This does not apply to the politically connected. Clinton is a witch. There is a more accurate word, of course, but I do not want to type or say it. State Department records reveal that Clinton knew about the attack in Benghazi, but chose to do nothing at all. Now we have former top FBI officials saying that they refused to investigate Clinton for her myriad of misdeeds because they thought she would be president. Anyone who was caught investigating her would be given the Epstein treatment. Now that she does not have any power over them, they can say this. The entire world knows that the virus originated in China. The entire world knows that the Chinese government covered it up. What we do not know for absolute certain is the timeline of what the government knew and when. Since their inaction caused 95% of the cases around the world, it stands to reason that there should be an investigation into who knew what and when. China has banned all imports to Australia. If the country does not set aside plans to independently investigate these questions. What is China hiding? We are consistently told that if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. This does not apply to communists. Meanwhile, over in the United States, we have a problem with our own leadership. As explained, this was all a test to see how much liberty could be taken away. Skip to Dr. Birx, who now claims that the number of asymptomatic cases were grossly underestimated. Just like the flu, which happens every year. This is even with states and media outlets saying that there are more cases than there are just to get more funding. Yes, hospitals are paid more by Medicaid if it is the China virus. Something tells me that they knew, but just chose to try and keep us in the dark. However, we found out because there is no state media. Yet. Throughout the eugenics movement right here in the United States, countless people were forcibly sterilized because they were gay, handicapped, or a minority. All to keep the gene code clean of their infection. These policies helped inspire those in Germany, and this led to one of the greatest human rights violations of the last century. A UK judge has ruled that a woman will be fitted with a device to forbid her from having children because she has a learning disability. She has had multiple children already, and these children have been removed from her custody. So the same party that is pro-science does not believe that the life in the womb is a genetically distinct child. However, it is not all bad news out of Britain. They are also working to remove children from transgender experiments. These hormone blockers and other such treatments are detrimental to the child. Not that the baby killer that is Planned Parenthood cares, they are making the situation worse. It is hard to make the argument that you care for people's lives and well-being when you kill people for a living. The abortion giant wants parents to take advantage of the quarantine to talk to their kids about gender fluidity. Why? Walter Hay, a biological male that has gone on to regret his transition, is one of the many voices speaking out against this nonsense. The number of secondary sexual traits is quite long. Even if it was just about making more people, this is still a huge difference that requires very different body chemistry. So the same party that is pro-science does not believe in basic genetics. President Trump suggested that we could look into ultraviolet light to curing a myriad of diseases. He accidentally used the word disinfect, and so the fake news decided that he told the American people to drink bleach and Lysol. Supposedly, the number of poison control calls went up substantially, but this was fake news as well. These are the same sort of claims that were made by the fish tank lady. The same one who claimed that she was a Trump supporter when she was not, and had even donated to several PACs that opposed the president. She is now being brought up on criminal charges for killing her husband by feeding him fish tank cleaner. Back to ultraviolet light. It turns out that there is a company that is looking into this. This is such good news that Silicon Valley decided that they would censor the company and anyone who posted an ad showing how it worked. Officially, this is to stop disinformation, and the video violated terms of service. It was just because nothing can be done to make the president look good. So the same party that is pro-science refuses to even consider a treatment option just because it makes Trump look good. Not only does the media have to squash actual cures, but CBS also aired a tape of a testing facility where they tested employees there because no one was there.
Apparently, the news crew wanted more people in the line because they knew it was scheduled.
Well, we knew they were coming. We had no clue that we were going to have to, do fake patients.
Gotcha. And did she tell you guys, hey, you're not actually getting tested?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she did. She just was just to make it look busy for the news because they were right there.
That's crazy. Well, I didn't see you guys do the swab at all. I just saw you talking with them. And then I was talking with the other girl.
There were a couple of real patients, which made it worse.
They probably just wanted it to look busy. It's my guess.
I am starting to think that the media wants this to look even worse, so that we will be scared. Israel will be getting even bigger soon. President Trump already worked to move the embassy to Jerusalem, and now he is still hard at work. Netanyahu has confirmed that he will be annexing parts of Judea and Samaria back to where they properly belong. Not only is Israel getting their land back, but they are also getting money from the Palestinian Authority to pay the victims of their terrorist attacks, to the tune of $142 million. There is a lot of diplomacy involved in this, with arguments being made that they owe much more, but I digress. In summary, they are having to pay the victims of their attacks, and they are losing land from which to launch attacks. Michael Moore's newest documentary, Planet of the Humans, argues that the infrastructure that we have built for renewable energy is not doing what it promised to do. The short explanation is that to get the windmills and solar panels to work, you need lots of land and lots of energy to get them operational. However, the plants do not always give the same amount of energy back. The documentary does admit that the only way to stop global warming for certain is to not only limit population growth, but to limit resource consumption. Granted, Michael Moore could start limiting his own resource consumption, but that is another issue. The same people that say we need to limit population growth never once volunteer themselves. By the way, let's talk about celebrities and liberalism for a moment. So many of them drink the Kool-Aid, but a lot more are breaking ranks, like Rose McGowan.
Well, maybe I'm not one of you after all if I can't even make that candle. Oh.
Last time, Trump won, even when all of Hollywood was against him. But this time, he will not have the same handicap.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
My administration will take all necessary steps to safeguard our citizens from this threat.
Hysterical xenophobia.
Be giving Americans a false sense.
Is it accurate that if these steps had not been put in place, it could have been 2 million people dead here in the United States?
Yes. No matter how hard they try to stop us, they can't. We built the greatest economy the world has ever seen, and we're going to do it again. Together, we're beating back the invisible enemy.
What the federal government did was a phenomenal accomplishment.
Through it all, the world has witnessed the unyielding resolve of our incredible American people.
Promise made, promise kept.
And I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have. And you know that. With the grace of God, we will win this war, and we will win this war quickly. And we will make America great again.
Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion.